Hola, ¿qué tal amigos de YouTube? Bienvenidos a un nuevo vídeo. Esta vez pues voy a hacer videoreacción al vídeo del canal Gonzalo IT, donde habla sobre pues cómo hubiesen sido las cosas si Jim Carrey interpretase a Carnage en una supuesta Spider-Man 4 con Sam Raimi. Ahora sin nada más que decir, vamos a darle a play en 3, 2, 1.
Carnage, one of Spider-Man's deadliest foes and one of Marvel's most terrifying villains. I am the ultimate insanity. I am Carnage. He was first introduced in The Amazing Spider-Man 361 back in 1992. Carnage quickly became a fan favorite. Born from the union of the psychotic serial killer Cletus Cassidy and an alien symbiote, Carnage is the darker, more chaotic counterpart to Venom. During the 90s, Carnage became a cultural phenomenon. His pure, unrelenting evil made him a standout character in the Marvel Universe. Unlike many villains who sought power, revenge, or control, Carnage was driven by chaos and destruction for its own sake. His twisted worldview and psychotic nature set him apart from other Spider-Man villains, making him a terrifying presence in the comics. Marvel capitalized on Carnage's popularity by featuring him in major storylines like Maximum Carnage, a crossover event that saw Spider-Man and Venom teaming up to stop Carnage and his band of psychotic allies. The storyline became an instant classic. Fans were drawn to the sheer brutality of the character and the moral dilemmas he posed for heroes who had to confront his senseless violence. Carnage wasn't also just popular in the comics. From action figures to video game appearances in titles like Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage, his influence extended far beyond the pages of Marvel. By the mid-90s, Carnage became a household name among comic book fans, embodying the darker side of Spider-Man's rogues gallery. What made Carnage so compelling was his unpredictability. He wasn't bound by logic or reason. He was chaos personified. This made him not only terrifying, but also endlessly fascinating for fans who wanted to see how Spider-Man and Venom would handle such an unstoppable force. Carnage wasn't just another villain. He was a cultural phenomenon. His violent escapades and twisted philosophy resonated with audiences who craved darker, more intense storytelling during the 90s comic boom. To this very day, Carnage remains one of Spider-Man's most memorable adversaries. Still, the legacy of Carnage endured. His cultural impact as one of Spider-Man's most iconic villains ensured that his time would eventually come. Fans knew it was only a matter of time before this bloodthirsty maniac would finally get his live-action debut, an event that would be surely unforgettable. In 2007,
Pero bueno, antes que todo, el vídeo me parece bastante bueno. Y pues, bueno, antes de decir la razón por la que este usuario pensó que Jim Carrey sería buena opción, Jim Carrey podría ser buena opción para interpretar a Carnage, pues ha tenido que retroceder a cuando se estrenó Spider-Man 3, que pues bueno, dividió a la audiencia, y también que a Sam Raimi no le gustaba el personaje de Venom, diciendo que le faltaba humanidad.
Spider-Man 3 swung into theaters, marking the first time Venom appeared in live action. For many years, fans had clamored to see one of Spider-Man's most iconic foes on the big screen. And now that Venom had arrived, the question on everyone's mind was, what's next? For many fans, the natural progression seemed clear. In the comics, Venom's story is deeply intertwined with Carnage, his most dangerous and chaotic offspring. Carnage represented the next logical step in elevating Spider-Man's rogues gallery to new heights of danger and intensity. If Venom was already here, it seemed inevitable that Carnage would follow. As speculation about Spider-Man 4 began to grow, fans took to forums and blogs to share their theories. Many believed that Cletus Cassidy, the deranged serial killer who becomes Carnage, would make his live-action debut in the next installment. After all, introducing Carnage would not only expand Venom's story, but also take Spider-Man into much more darker and more thrilling territory. With all this speculation about Carnage's potential debut in Spider-Man 4, fans couldn't help but wonder, who could possibly play such a deranged and unpredictable character? Several names were thrown into the mix, some fitting choices, and others far more unconventional. One name that stood out among these rumors was none other than Jim Carrey. Yes, that Jim Carrey, known for his over-the-top comedic performances in the films like The Mask, Ace Ventura, and Dumb and Dumber. At first glance, it seemed like a bizarre choice. How could a comedian known for his slapstick humor embody one of Marvel's most twisted villains? But upon closer inspection, this idea wasn't as far-fetched as it seemed. Jim Carrey had proven time and time again that he could channel maniac energy into his performances. In films like The Cable Guy, he played a deeply unsettling character with an unpredictable edge. And in the number 23, he explored psychological darkness.
Aquí ya es como que da a entender que en películas que Jim Carrey ha hecho, como El chico del cable o número 23, pues que aquí Jim Carrey sí que puede interpretar en sí a una persona que está un poco, algo que pues encaja en cierto modo con Carnage. Esto último lo digo sin insultar a nadie, porque seguramente que alguno se estará metiendo en el vídeo y estará diciendo te estás mofando de mí o me estás faltando al respeto, y no, simplemente que cuando digo me refiero a por cómo está el personaje del cómic, no el personaje de persona en carne y hueso.
In a way that hinted at his ability to tackle more sinister roles, fans began to wonder if Carrey would bring something truly unique to Cletus Cassidy, a blend of chaos, humor, and horror that would make Carnage unforgettable. Jim Carrey has built a career on making audiences laugh, but beneath the slapstick humor and the wild improvisation lies an actor capable of so much more. In fact, it's this very versatile that makes the idea of Jim Carrey as Carnage far more plausible than it might initially seem. One of the most compelling arguments for Carrey's potential as Carnage can be found in his performance in the 2007 psychological thriller, The Number 23. In this film, Carrey plays Walter Sparrow, a man whose life spirals out of control after becoming obsessed with a mysterious book that seemed to mirror his own dark past. The film gave audiences a glimpse into a side of Carrey rarely seen, a man gripping with paranoia, rage, and an inner darkness that threatened to consume him. What stands out the most about Carrey's performance in The Number 23 is his ability to channel raw intensity. As Walter becomes more obsessed with the titular number, his cheerful demeanor gives way to anger, fear, and eventually madness. This transformation feels eerily similar to what
A esto me refería con que Jim Carrey pues puede encarnar podría interpretar a Carnage. O sea, tomando como referencia la película el número 23, es a entender que Jim Carrey en esa película pues interpreta a alguien que pues sí que se le cruzan un poquillo los cables.
Cassidy experiences when he bonds with the Carnage symbiote. A descent into complete chaos and destruction. Cletus Cassidy is not just a villain, he's a force of nature. He thrives on unpredictability, chaos, and violence. To portray such a character convincingly, it requires an actor who can embody both maniac energy and unhinged menace. In The Number 23, Carrey showed that he can tap into a darker side of himself, delivering moments of quiet intensity mixed with explosive outbursts. Qualities that align perfectly with Cassidy's psychotic personality. Even before The Number 23, Carrey had already hinted at his ability to play darker roles. In The Cable Guy, he portrayed Chip Douglas, a socially awkward yet deeply disturbing character whose obsession with friendships turns dangerous. While the film was marketed as a dark comedy, Carrey's performance often veered into outright horror territory, showcasing his ability to make audiences feel uncomfortable while still maintaining an undeniable charisma. This combination of charm and menace is exactly what makes Carnage such a terrifying villain. He doesn't just kill, He enjoys it. He taunts his victims with twisted humor before unleashing unimaginable violence. With his background in comedy, Carrey could bring an unraveling layer of dark humor to the character, making Carnage even more unpredictable and horrifying. Imagine Jim Carrey as Cletus Cassidy, a man who exudes an almost childlike glee while committing unspeakable atrocities. His ability to switch between humor and horror would make him an unforgettable presence on screen. Jim Carrey could bring a unique energy that no other actor can replicate. Carnage is not just about brute strength. He's about psychological terror. He thrives on making people feel helpless and afraid, often using his twisted sense of humor as part of his attacks. With Jim Carrey's mastery of physicality, facial expressions, and vocal delivery, he could embody every facet of Carnage's character. From the deranged serial killer Cletus Cassidy to the monstrous symbiote-driven villain who lives for chaos. If the number 23 proved anything, it's that Jim Carrey has the range to explore the darker corners of human emotion. And when paired with his natural talent for eccentricity and unpredictability, it becomes clear why some fans believe he could have been an inspired choice for Carnage, a villain who is equal parts terrifying and enthralling. But as it turns out, Carnage was never part of Sam Raimi's plans for the fourth film. Sam Raimi had a clear philosophy when it came to his villains. He wanted his villains to serve the story and provide emotional depth. While Venom was included in Spider-Man 3, Raimi has openly admitted that he wasn't passionate about the character and felt pressured by his studio executives to include.
Aquí ya entra el tema de que Sam Raimi no quería a Venom, o sea, él no tenía en sus planes meter a Venom como villano, o sea, él quería al buitre, y que básicamente fue el propio Ibi Arad el que le dijo, mira, no metas al buitre, mete a Venom. Y se nota que aquí, pues, para Spider-Man 4, pues le querían dar la vuelta a la tortilla, por decirlo de algún modo. Y pues que no quería Sam Raimi a Carnage para la cuarta parte.
This led to a film that many felt was overcrowded with villains and lacked the emotional resonance of his predecessors. Introducing Carnage, a character who was even more chaotic and violent than Venom, might have resulted in another villain-heavy film that struggled to balance its narrative. Raimi knew that Carnage's story would require significant screen time to do justice to his character, and he wasn't willing to compromise the integrity of the film by shoehorning him into an already packed storyline. Instead of focusing on Carnage, Raimi envisioned a different direction for Spider-Man 4. Early reports revealed that he planned for Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, to be the primary antagonist played by John Malkovich. Raimi believed in creating villains who were tragic and relatable, like Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 or Sandman in Spider-Man 3. Carnage's twisted worldview didn't fit this mold. He wasn't a character driven by personal loss or moral conflict. Instead, he was pure chaos and carnage, which didn't align with the tone Raimi wanted for his fourth installment. Unfortunately, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4 never came to fruition. Creative differences between Raimi and Sony led to delays and disagreements over the script. Sam Raimi reportedly felt that he couldn't deliver a film that met both his standards and Sony's expectations within their timeline. And Sam Raimi just didn't think he could meet the May 6, 2011 release date in a timely manner. Ultimately, Sony decided to pull a plug on Spider-Man 4, opting instead to reboot the franchise entirely with Andrew Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man. The cancellation of Spider-Man 4 marked the end of an era, and with it, all fan theories about Carnage and other potential villains and storylines appearing in the Raimi's universe were officially put to rest. While fans had hoped for a darker sequel featuring Cletus Cassidy as Carnage, Raimi's departure ensured that this idea would remain nothing more than speculation. While it's disappointing that we'll never get to see Carnage in the Raimiverse, it's clear why he wasn't part of Sam Raimi's plans. The director prioritized emotional storytelling and character-driven conflicts over flashy action sequences or fan service. Introducing Carnage, a villain defined by chaos rather than complexity, might have clashed with Raimi's approach and repeated some of the missteps from Spider-Man 3. But still, some fans can't help but wonder what could have been. Could Jim Carrey have brought Cletus Cassidy and Carnage to life in a way that complemented Sam Raimi's storytelling? Could a darker sequel have worked if handled carefully? Unfortunately, we'll never know. The cancellation of Spider-Man 4 closed the door on these possibilities forever. In the end, While Woody Harrelson gave us one version of Carnage, Jim Carrey could have given us something entirely different. Perhaps Carnage's role would have worked better in the Venom spinoff that was once planned after Spider-Man 3, which might have seen Topher Grace reprising his role as Eddie Brock. This could have introduced Carnage as Venom's ultimate adversary. In this context, Jim Carrey's portrayal might have fit perfectly, allowing him to fully embrace the character's chaotic energy without being tied down by Raimi's more grounded storytelling style. And though it never came to pass, the idea remains one of those fascinating possibilities that keeps fans dreaming about what could have been.
Y bueno, este ha sido el vídeo de hoy. Espero que os haya gustado. Si es así, dale like, suscribíos y comentad que yo subo vídeos. Soy Pablo y nos vemos en la próxima. Bye bye.